Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
And welcome to the latest episode of Real Talk. We are going to get into some real talk tonight. Man, the NBA gave us a lot. I thought leading up until this weekend, we would be talking a bunch of NFL, a bunch of Super Bowl, but the NBA said, wait 1 minute. Between the Lakers' performance last night, the lack of trades by the Knicks and the Lakers, as well as Brooklyn and Philly getting it done, we got a lot to get into. But before we do that, Kenny, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm great, man. We, like you said, a lot to talk about, a lot of news, a lot of happenings. So ready to get to it and break it all down.
Sounds good. We are missing our president, Mr. Freddie Henderson, who I was so excited to talk to tonight. He conveniently has missed another episode.
As usual.
As usual. So hopefully he'll make his way on here and stand in front of his Lakers performance. But in the meantime, we do want to start with probably the highest rated game you will see this year in the Super Bowl. So obviously there's been a lot leading up to it. I feel like the NBA is really taking over this week, and I don't know if the NFL loves that because I haven't seen a ton of coverage or insight or not too much on some of the major networks as far as the NFL goes. So obviously they want to be dominating the headlines, and for the last 2 days they have not been doing that. So I think that could be a testament to the teams or maybe the lack of personalities on the teams. What's kind of been your takeaway of so far you've seen this week leading up to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think it's what you said in terms of the matchup. I don't think it's the sexiest matchup. So it hasn't had as much buzz. And, there are some storylines, but I don't, it's not the Brady storyline. It's not the Rodgers storyline. It's not the Mahomes storyline. So, those have been the storylines that's been really dominating the NFL this year. So I think that's it's been a little bit of a letdown, along with also because of the names that are involved in terms of the NBA, in terms of the trade. I think that's really what caused the NBA to kind of get put more out on Front Street because you had such big names that were, rumored to be traded, and then now we see that they actually have been traded. So I think that's why they've kind of had to share the headlines, share the front page. Well, look who came in, faces the music.
Ooh, he got a clean haircut and everything.
Oh, my goodness.
Did not think you would make it, but man,
I might have went into hiding or into depression. We were concerned, my friend. We're glad to have you.
We was telling
How are you guys doing?
We were.
Good, man. Good. We're glad to see you. That's what's most important.
How are you doing?
How are you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm gonna tell you. I had to come on here with my brothers because I'm going through it right now. I'm going through it that I needed to go through with my brothers to make me feel good. I need y'all through this moment.
Oh, you're not going to get much help from me because I'm going to just give you a bunch of I told you so.
I can offer you. And wait till we get to, this trade deadline talk about your Lakers.
Good thing the Lakers isn't the topic today, so.
We'll see about that. But we are starting with the Super Bowl, and I was kind of talking to Kenny and just saying it seemed kind of a little dull leading up to the Super Bowl. Obviously, ASAP's done a great job of covering it, but outside of that, I don't feel the buzz like in 3 days is going to be the Super Bowl. So, Freddie, kind of what have your thoughts been about this weekend leading up to the Super Bowl?
Just know this is where we want it. As LA fans, we ready. We ready for
No. We already talked about this. We already had this conversation. No, get that off your lips. You cannot say that yet.
Like I said, we ready. Hey, we about to put on a show. But me personally, I'm ready for the game. But I'm probably more ready for the Super Bowl halftime show this year,
No doubt.
just to see, hey, what the type of show Dr. Dre, Snoop,
Oh man, my
Eminem, and
soundbar
Mary
is gonna
J.
be
Blige.
bumping. I
Oh,
can't wait.
hey, by the way, I love from a young guy like me. I love me some Mary J. I'm sorry, I grew up on that, so I'm ready to see it. I'm excited, but we'll get into predictions a little bit in later on in the show. But hey, I'm pumped. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. But I mean, hey, it's a lot of things going on in the sports world right now. So I mean, and then like you said, Kenny, it's not Tom Brady, it's not Aaron Rodgers, it's not it's not the Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So I mean, it's not the most sexiest pick on paper, but hey, we here. Well, a few days out.
Yeah. So we are here, and Freddie, you foretold the truth. We are going to get right into the Super Bowl predictions. I'll go ahead and start, give y'all some time to formulate y'all thoughts and opinions, and hopefully you agree with me or you'll be wrong. But I think this is going to be a good Super Bowl. I've seen it talked about in a variety of different ways. I've heard Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times, so that means that the Rams defense is just going to destroy it. I've heard that they can't stop the Bengals offense, so the Bengals are going to put up a bunch of points. I think it'll be somewhere in the middle. I think there will be a lot of nerves because offensively, nobody has really been in this position. So I think the offenses to start the game are going to be in a little bit off kilter. I think it'll take some time. They said that Uzama's should play. I think that'll help. That'll be a steadying force. I think Tyler Boyd will be important early, just to kind of get Joe into a rhythm. I don't think he'll necessarily be scared of the moment, but this is a huge moment, unlike anything he's ever played in. Matt Stafford has also never been on this level, but he hadn't been on this level through the playoffs, and he's played really well the majority of the playoffs. So I think he'll continue to build on that. But I could see, something quick to Odell to start the game, maybe something to Cup to try and get him into a rhythm. But I think once they get going, I think they'll get going. I do give the Rams the edge because of that defense. I think this is where, for everything that I've heard talked about Aaron Donald, and he is great, this is where you need Aaron Donald to show up. We saw what Von Miller did when he was in the Super Bowl. He won the Super Bowl MVP. We need to know that Aaron Donald played. And the last time he played, I think 2 years ago, I didn't really know that Aaron Donald was on the field. So I think he's going to have to be huge in order to stop the Bengals from being able to get the ball down the field. So it will be interesting to see if they're able to do that and scheme it up. Sean McVay has talked about the lessons that he's learned through this process and not overcoaching and not doing too much. So I do give the edge to the Rams. I don't really have a horse in this race. I like a lot of players on both sides. I really, really like Burrow. I'm a big Odell fan and have been. I like Von Miller. So I just want to see a good game. But I think the Rams get it done late. I think Matthew Stafford, it's an underrated aspect of his game is his ability to come back. He has a bunch of comeback wins, even though they were in Detroit. And so I think he gets it done. I got the Rams 30-26. And I think it'll be a good showing. And I also would give the edge to Cincinnati. So if it comes down to kicking, their kicker got it. And he seems to be lights out. Even in the feedback he gave Burrow for the one game, he said, like, it's over now.
Yeah, super swag.
Yeah. So I think they'll be fine. And I got Rams 30-26. Kenny, who you got?
Yeah, I'm with you in terms of picking the Rams, and I think it's one of those things too where this game is going to be determined by matchups and strengths on strengths. So what you were talking about with Aaron Donald, the defensive line advantage that the Rams have, against the Bengals, who has offensive line issues. I think that's going to have to be something where the defensive line of the Rams dominates the Cincinnati offensive line. Then you got the matchups outside where you got, Jalen Ramsey going against, Jamar Chase, and then on the opposite side, where Cincinnati's kind of their secondary, they're going to have some problems. They're going to have to figure out, that what they're going to do with Cooper Kupp. Do you put Eli Apple on him? Do you Awuzie? Who are you going to double? So you're going to have to single up somebody. So there's some. I think all of the bottom line. I think all of the advantages, if you were going strength on strength, I think all of the advantages is on the Rams side. So I give them, the edge going into this matchup. And I don't think it's going to be as close as you, Ray. I think it's going to be a 2-score game. So I got it 34-24. I got 34-24 with the Rams taking it. Because, again, I think the difference is I think we see kind of the similar situation or a similar game to the Tennessee matchup with Cincinnati, where their defensive line really, gave Joe Burrow fits. But the difference is that the Rams have offensive weapons that can take advantage of all of those possession opportunities that they're going to get. So I think that's what happens where, Joe Burrow is going to have to really get the ball out fast. They're not going to be able to be as explosive because he won't have as much time to make those plays down the field. And I think as a result, that's going to give the Rams more opportunities to score. And I think Matthew Stafford is going to take advantage of those opportunities.
Okay. I hear you. That you said 2-score. Wow.
Yeah. Not a blowout, but I just think it's going to be like a 10-point game, whether it's 30-20 or 34-24, something like that.
And like I said, we had Chris who had 24-10. So I've heard a lot of people suggest that it's going to be a blowout. I don't have that much faith in.
Yeah, I'm not saying a blowout. I'm saying 10 points. I'm not saying a blowout. I'm saying a 2-score game.
Okay, that's close to a blowout for a Super Bowl, but I'll give you that. Freddie, what you got?
Listen here, man.
And don't say we.
By the way, T.J. Watt just got named Defensive Player of the Year.
Really?
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
He earned that tied the record for sacks.
Listen here, man. The Rams. We talking about Defensive Player of the Year. Last time I thought they had an Aaron Donald. They had a Leonard Floyd. They had a Jalen Ramsey. They had a Von Miller and the crew. And the last time I'm familiar, how many sacks did the Tennessee Titans have against the Cincinnati Bengals? 9. Then, oh my God, just imagine what the Rams D-line and defense is going to do. You know what? We ready for the moment. Matthew Stafford, he's here. First time ever winning a Super Bowl. I'm going to a Super Bowl. Hey, we knocked him because, he was down there in purgatory, but now he's home. Now he's with a team that have weapons around him. He got a Cooper Kupp who had a hell of a season that needs to give more attention, need to give more praise, by the way. He have an Odell Beckham Jr. who proven the odds wrong to show that, hey, it wasn't Baker Mayfield. It was just I was in a bad situation. And then, and then you got the kid Akers. That's a great story right there, man. The dude go through what he went through in training camp and come back and be available in the playoffs, even though he had those fumbles that one game.
Big time.
But he is productive. You have the backup running back that you drafted from the Patriots as well. So you do have a formidable running game. They're not one dimensional as we was talking about early in the season. So listen. We are going to come in there and we're going to dominate. We coming to prove a point. Kenny said 10. Ray think it's going to be close. I'm going 14 points. I'm going 2 TDs win. I believe the LA atmosphere, the fans, the way that the vibe, the energy that this is going to be coming this upcoming Sunday with that defensive line. I don't know what Joe Burrow can do. I still think Joe Burrow will have a lot of great moments in this game. I think he will go out fighting because I believe in Joe Burrow.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's that type of quarterback, but I don't think he'll be able to get the job done. And we gonna be this will be the only parade that we're gonna celebrate in LA this year, and we're gonna celebrate big. We're gonna celebrate it big.
Okay, I hear y'all. That's why they play the game. So if it turns out that way, I wouldn't be terribly upset. But I just think Cincinnati they're gonna come in there confident. I think they're gonna come in there with a good game plan. Taylor will have them ready to play. It's not going to be a situation where they were unprepared or anything like that. But it should be good. But I did want to touch on something that we talked about really last weekend. I think for what it's worth, the NFL is probably glad to a certain extent that this headline's kind of out of the news, even though Roger Goodell got absolutely hammered with questions while it was down there. And I appreciated the reporters for asking the tough questions. But given the Brian Flores situation, and you guys talked about it, I think it was on the show, how excited you are about the halftime. One of the people that was influential in that was Jay-Z. And at the time when he sat with Roger, there was some concern about his stance, in essence, against Colin Kaepernick. And so far to this point, I haven't heard a statement from him on the Brian Flores lawsuit. And so I wanted to pass it to you guys before I kind of get into it. Do you feel, given his stature as a celebrity and in his relationship with the NFL, that he should have spoken out in favor or even against Brian Flores' lawsuit? And I'll start with you, Freddie.
I'm going to say yes. And the reason why I'm going to say yes is because Jay-Z is a pretty wealthy man. No matter whichever side that he stands on, Jay-Z's going to be good. I mean, I'm pretty sure we was on the show Monday where our dude Ray came on here and said how Kanye West was very influential. I mean, he was a good role model or whatever. But I'm sorry.
Stay focused.
I'm sorry, Ray. I just had to let that slip in. But we talking about Jay-Z. Like I said, he's an African American. He's one of the biggest guys in entertainment. He has the money. He's with Beyonce. What he's doing with these halftime shows, making a difference. Okay, Jay-Z, let's do it all the way. You want to make a difference in not just in the entertainment world. Hey, this is a big matter until we get guys like Jay-Z to start stepping it up for right, start standing up for right. And I'm not gonna lie, Kenny, and I said this when it all happened. That as much as I want to see the halftime show, what would have made a big statement if Jay-Z would have said, you know what, we're not going to go out there and perform. We're not going to go out to perform until the NFL correct this issue. That right there would have brought a statement to the NFL.
Well, I didn't see that coming, but I gotta tell you, I think that would be a heck of a statement. Kenny, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that really is a great point, Freddie. I didn't even think about that, but it's one of those things too where that's the hammer, or that's the leverage, or something that that could have been used to create an opportunity for voices to be heard. And and I agree as well that Jay-Z definitely should have. I think he should have had something to say. I think he talked about wanting to have a seat at the table, or be able to have a voice to be able to be heard. And this was a perfect opportunity for his voice to be heard. So, yeah, I totally agree. I think he definitely should have taken the time to, or whether it's a statement, whether it's, a press conference, whatever the case may be, his voice carries weight. So, and he has the attention of the NFL, like you said, and he's able to speak to them in rooms that other people of our ilk, or of other people of color cannot. So I really do think that he could have taken an opportunity to speak on this. So I'm with you, Freddie, and that's a great point that you made.
Yeah. Hi guys.
Hey,
what up, Mike?
So this is Mike Hughes. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. First time caller, long time listener. I have a question for Freddie Henderson. Freddie, how do you feel knowing you're complacent with just being hot garbage? And does that change your mentality knowing that the Lakers are comfortable with being dog shit?
Mike, I'm Hughes. Thank you for calling the show. I'm trying to get over this, sir, but you bringing this up was not helping me.
Oh, well, what's really not helping? Not making any trades. That doesn't help either.
Mike, We're not talking about that right now. Call Mr. Caller.
You know who you should have called? Buddy
Oh,
Hield. John Wall.
We're
Sabonis.
going to get to John Wall because that call was made, but someone didn't want to answer with the right response. So we will get to that in just
I wonder
a moment.
who that could have been.
In a moment, but yeah, it was a heck of a day. But quick,
first time, not all.
But to you guys' point, Freddie and Kenny, I will say I have had long-standing kind of issues with Jay-Z's lack of voice, and from everything I've ever been told, he's the kind of person that does a lot behind the scenes. And I get that. I think there's a time and I think there's a place for that. 100%. I think putting your money and your resources into programs and things like that is all very important. But I think really, and Freddie, like I said, I think you made a great point. He was finally in a position of power with the NFL where they're spending a bunch of money to promote this halftime show. And I'm waiting to see if, similar to when Beyonce did the halftime show and she did Formation and it was very Afrocentric, maybe that's the right term, maybe they will do something to that effect. But I feel like it was missed. And Roger Goodell gave them the platform to speak on it. Like, he's been very clear that they failed in it. They've sent the memo out. So it wouldn't have been like he would have received a ton of backlash. The only thing that I can think of that would prohibit Jay-Z from saying something is the Broncos are up for sale. And so with them being up for sale, Roger Goodell has made it clear that certain people have to, or the owners have to approve whoever the next owner is. If you piss these people off, you potentially run the risk of not having anyone available or not getting approved, rather, to be an owner. But even in that, I feel like there was a PR way or a right way that you can come out and say, we got to do better. And I also think some of that onus is going to be on whether it's him or I forget the guy that they keep saying is potentially going to buy the team or has shown interest. But what do they do with the coaching?
Byron Allen.
Yeah, Byron Allen. Thank you. So I think that'll be important. And I think there's going to be pressure if they do go that route. And he's made it very clear, I want to be in the running. I think it would be hard to kick or push Jay-Z aside if he wanted an interest in him coming out in support of Brian Flores or fixing or coming up with something besides just silence. I think would have gone a long way. But that's just me. Mike, did you have a take, or you here for the basketball talk?
Are we talking about Jay-Z owning a basketball team?
No. Should Jay-Z have said something about the Flores lawsuit against the NFL, or should he have kept his mouth shut like he's been done?
I think it's 50-50, kind of the way you look at it. Obviously, being a black man of power, I feel like you definitely do need to make a comment, have an opinion, or at least share it and let it be known that, you're aware of the situation. When it comes to the NFL in general, JD knows his lane and he's, all in on the Nets and he's all in on basketball. So, I mean, I understand if he's not screaming to the roof that Brian Flores deserves a job, because I don't know how much football Jay-Z truly knows about. But I mean, like you said, Jay-Z's a big man of power with that. Beyonce is a strong figurehead when it comes to that. So, I mean, I could look at it either way. I could understand why, you kind of just want to speak to what you understand fully. And maybe he's waiting to read more reports and get a better understanding of that. But I could also see, where you're coming from with it, to where you should say something. But I don't know. I think it is what it is.
Okay. I get it. Definitely understand that. So we kind of talked to begin about storylines and maybe this Super Bowl lacking some of them. But one thing that has been pretty consistent is that the Rams are going all in. This, by every stretch of the imagination, is the Rams going all in for the Super Bowl this year. So now that they've made it to the Super Bowl with Matt Stafford, with OBJ, with all the pieces that they brought in, if the Rams lose, is this season considered a failure? And Freddie, I'll start with you.
Oh, most definitely. Oh, most definitely it'll be a failure because I mean you went like you said went all in. You bought in a Von Miller, a Odell Beckham Jr. You brought in these guys and a Matthew Stafford. You know when you felt that you could trade Jared Goff to bring in Matthew, you felt that Matthew Stafford was that piece to take you to the promised land that you never been. So let's not forget the same Rams team with Jared Goff have been to the Super Bowl, but what happened? They said Jared Goff was not the guy to deliver the Super Bowl. So when you go get a Matthew Stafford, you say, okay, we believe you're a guy that can get over us in the hump. We believe you're a guy that can make a fourth quarter comeback if need be. We believe you're a guy that we can depend. You can put us on your back and carry us to promised land. And when you put the pieces around a Matthew Stafford to look great. And then let's not forget on that defensive end, you still have that great defensive line when you have like I said, Aaron Donald, a Leonard Floyd, a Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey in the crew. So there's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of pressure on Sean McVay as well. Just because, Sean McVay has been willing to trade guys, have been willing to trade draft picks to bring in guys these last couple of years to load up on the squad. So if they lose this Super Bowl this Sunday, it's going to be one of the biggest failures in the NFL.
Wow. Freddie coming with it for his team. So your team better not lose. You picked them to win by 14.
Don't let me down.
They're gonna win by 14, so they fool around and lose. Then what happens, in your opinion? Does someone have to go? Do they blow it up? What happens?
Man, honestly, I'm not gonna say he's gonna get fired, but like I said, that heat for Sean McVay is gonna get hot. It's gonna get real hot because, like I said, he's been in this situation before where he was in the Super Bowl, and they did not win. So it's gonna get heated. I'm not gonna say that they'll fire him, but that seat, he's gonna start feeling that seat.
Okay. Kenny, what you got?
Yeah, man, this is 2 in a row. I'm going with Freddie. I want to check my temperature, make sure I'm okay. Everything was done for with this year in mind. OBJ's on the 1-year contract. Von Miller is a free agent at the end of the season. So you got all of these things that was done, trading for Matthew Stafford and giving away, like you said, draft picks, even going back to trading for Jalen Ramsey. Like they've done all these things and put this team together because they believe that they were going to win a Super Bowl, and especially this year. You don't make those moves unless you were all in for this year. So it would definitely be a failure if they don't win the Super Bowl. And even more so to me, the other part of it is that while, people, I'm sure there's some people that expected the Rams to be here, nobody expected the Bengals to be here. So, they're pretty much playing with house money at this point. This is all gravy for them. Nobody expected them, to make this type of playoff run. And for them to, to make this kind of run, like everything is in their favor. The game is at home for crying out loud. Like you have everything that you need in terms of being in position to win. And so if you don't, and you lose at home and in the Super Bowl, that's a total failure. Like there's no other way around it. So they definitely got to get it done.
And to piggyback on that, Kenny, we got to remember, hey, like you said, the Bengals, they was not expected to be here. So that's even more scary because you have a team that's, we win,
young
we
and
lose.
Up and coming. Yeah.
Hey, we lose
to them.
Be here anyway.
Yeah, you lose to them. This young and up and coming team that just, came out of nowhere and just basically pretty much took the league by storm this year. Got to win this game.
Got to win it. Okay.
Yeah,
Mike, what you think?
Man, it's a failure though, bro. Like, to be honest, I would say, being honest with you, Ray, I would say it's not a failure if Cam Akers didn't come back. because you don't have a run game, and that's definitely something that, you know, the Bengals are going to prepare for. But Cam Akers is the miracle man, and Cam Akers is coming back. Hell, I watched D Rose go down with the same thing and wait 2 years to come back, and Cam Akers comes back in 4 months. So, I mean, you got Vaughn, you got Odell, you got all these other things going on. So I think it definitely would be really unfortunate for them to lose. And I don't know about feeling that seat so much, but because Sean McVay is doing amazing things, but it comes down to it when you define who Sean McVay is. I think you would think, you know, is he one of the greatest coaches of all time? Is he top 5? Because if you can't win a championship, that's what a lot of it comes down to. So I don't think he'd feel that seat or that pressure at all. But when it comes down to his legacy, I think it definitely hurts.
No, Mike,
Okay.
I just want to clarify. I love Sean McVay. I think he's a great coach, but I'm just saying if he loses the Super Bowl, that's when you start feeling the seat. I'm not saying that.
No, yeah, I just don't think there's any way he feels that seat. I just don't think even if they lose by 1 million, you're not going to get rid of Sean or even think about it.
Well,
Wow.
you may not think. No, I don't know if you don't think about it. I think that there got to be some consideration because, again, to your point, you know, he's considered to be this great coach. He's got this coaching tree of all these guys that are getting jobs. So you can't be the coaching tree guy. You can't be the boy genius and not win any Super Bowls and go to the Super Bowl twice and lose. Like that's not a good look. That's
definitely. But to get there, I mean, consistently.
I understand, but then what do you become Marv Levy?
Nah, for sure.
Dang.
So you got to win it.
Yeah, that's not the name you necessarily want to be mentioned with in coaching.
Exactly.
I think it's a little early for that comparison, but you do start going down the wrong route, especially given the opponent, given the location, and given the experience.
Right.
You got the veteran quarterback, you got the veteran team. Y'all was just there a couple years ago. Like, I think Freddie detailed it. By every measure, they should have the advantage in this game. So I think if you don't get it done, that you got to look harder at what happened. And people forget he put up 3 points in the last Super Bowl. Like, that's awful. Like, I get it was Jared Goff, but 3 points is unacceptable by every stretch of the imagination. And so by every account we've seen, we got Mike saying it's going to be 34. Everybody has them scoring 25 plus 30 points. And if he don't get that, then and they lose, I do think you got to look at him. I think that seat definitely does get warm because what are we doing? And the window of opportunity for this team, I think, is very small. You might have another year because you're going to lose some people this season. So even in that small window, do you want to risk blowing it with this coach that clearly can't get it done if he loses?
Right. I think, Ray, you would see you would see the hot seat kind of get hotter just because of the draft compensation. Like the fact that you gave up all those picks just to come short and then you kind of screwed the future. That's when you would think, okay, well, maybe Sean is a great coach, but we're going to leave him out of the decisions when it comes to what are we giving up and why are we giving it up? Like, I wouldn't trust Sean with the future of the team because Sean's kind of in a win now.
And it may be one of those situations where he's a great coordinator. And we've seen that those guys exist, that some people are really, really good coordinators, not so great head coaches. So we'll see. He's definitely a public guy. Like he eats up the Hollywood limelight. So it will be interesting to see. To Damien's point, I definitely think the pressure for me is on McVay. I think people I'm not going to say Stafford's done enough to prove his doubters wrong, but I think he's taken a big step that the pressure and microscope isn't on him. If he has a bad game, will a bunch of people say, oh, yeah, he's exactly who we thought he was. You'll have some of those people, but the fact that in his first season in this environment took them to a Super Bowl, I think he's answered a lot of those questions. McVay's is the one that I think has the most to answer. So that's why I think is way more pressure. And if they do lose, I do also consider this a failure. Like, this is just not good enough. Freddie, your hands raised. What you got?
We got some breaking news. For the first time, I don't know when, the Cowboys been mentioned this time of year. I mean, I'm very surprised. Kenny, you should be very happy
Can
that
we
you have somebody mentioned around his name
stay on?
time of year. But Michael Parsons just been named Defensive Player Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
That was a
that
layup.
was a full conclusion. So it's not really, anything surprising. But I did want to piggyback on one other thing, Ray, with McVay. And if I'm not mistaken, even in that NFC Championship game, he kind of panicked a little bit because they used all of their timeouts with a bunch of time left in the fourth quarter. So, I think that he's really, going to be feeling the pressure because, again, all the advantages are on their side. They have every advantage coming into this game. So all the pressure is on them to win. So he's going to definitely be feeling this. So it's going to be interesting to see how he responds because I think in an NFC Championship game, he panicked a little bit.
No, that's also a really good point that you bring up. And we got some new people joining us. DJ Snick.
What's going on?
We just in here talking a little bit about the Super Bowl and if the Rams lose, is it a failure for their season? What's your thoughts?
Oh man, to me, honestly, making it to the game itself it shows something for the season. It shows the guts, the grit, the drive. So just making it to the dance, in my opinion, you didn't fail. Now to make it all the way and fall short, it can be looked at as a failure in some eyes, but I still feel like they did what they needed to do to get there, and they're not at home. They're in the game. So to me, I wouldn't say it's a huge failure in any way.
So even with them, being the favorite team, being at home, basically having all of the advantages going into this game, you still wouldn't see it as a failure if they lost?
No, because I mean it'd be different if all of this stuff wasn't lined up. Like the fact that they're at home it wasn't there. They didn't line that up. It just so happened that they made it to their home field for the game. To me, now being that they're the favorite, yeah, because like I just was I was just watching the show before I hopped in. Yeah, the Bengals weren't expected to make it this far in the season. Like they just weren't, but they did. So they showed that they do have that they were good enough to make it. They were good enough to get to the dance. So regardless of if they're favorited or not, I still feel like they still made it. I don't look at it as a failure. That's just me.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that in mind, I know we kind of talked about who's under more pressure, and I said, and I think we mostly agreed McVay seems to be under more pressure. But does Matt Stafford's Hall of Fame status depend on this game? Basically meaning if he loses this game, does that make him basically ineligible for the Hall of Fame at this point in his career? And if he wins it, does that guarantee his entry into the Hall of Fame? I'll start with you, Freddie.
Oh, man. When we talked about Matthew Stafford before this year, we talked about got a strong arm, Mr. Comeback Kid in the fourth quarter, can throw the football, but haven't won the big game. So he's done something this year he have not done in his career. He won 2 playoff games. He's looked, he had his ups and his downs. I'm not going to say that he was perfect in the playoffs, but he's had big moments, when it mattered against the clutch. He came and beat Tom Brady. I don't care. The man beat Tom Brady. A lot of people can't say that they beat Tom Brady. He can. And then right now, he has a chance to do something that a lot of quarterbacks can't do. And I'm going to go on the record. I talk about how great Aaron Rodgers is. But guess what? Rodgers have not been in this position in quite some time. And it's going to start questioning, like, okay, Aaron, we see Matthew Stafford doing it. Why can't you? you know. But I think this is going to go. This is going to determine just for the reason you have that moment, you have the opportunity. Now let's see you take advantage, and let's see you have great moments this Sunday. I mean, I'm not saying that I want the dude to throw 500 yards, 4 or 5 T. I'm not saying that at all. But go in there and win. Go in there and do whatever it takes to help your team win. And I believe if he loses the Super Bowl, there's going to be people that's going to start to say he's afraid of the moment. The lights are too bright. There's going to be those comments if they lose, and he don't look good while in this game. So I believe this game have a lot to do with it. And the pressure's on. But hey, the great ones rise when the pressure rise.
Freddie, I got a follow-up question for you. As the resident Aaron Rodgers man, if Matt Stafford wins this Super Bowl, you do know he would be tied with Aaron Rodgers for Super Bowl wins. Whose legacy then becomes better or more accomplished at that point if they each end up with one Super Bowl win? Rodgers will have the MVPs, but he's also failed way more on the big stage. So whose legacy you think would look better in hindsight if Matt Stafford, what you're predicting, wins the Super Bowl?
Man, this is a good question. It's gonna be Rodgers, but it's not close. But it's close. It's very close. And I think the MVPs is what's going to separate it. And then I think people are going to use for an excuse for Rodgers. They say, "Oh, he's the talent. He's that guy." But let's not forget about the defense. Let's not forget about the past defense where they, gave up the games. They're going to forget those moments. Even though, he fumbled the bag a couple of times himself. But it's not going to be like, it's going to be Rodgers and Matt. It's going to be like right here. It's like, he's right there. Because if Matthew Stafford finds a way to win next year or in a couple of years, if he just win a two, man, that's going to be a serious conversation. Like, okay, it's time to put Matthew Stafford over here on top of you now. I mean, it's not going to be close. It's not far, but I still have Rodgers at a tight edge. Like it's like right there.
Okay. Freddie, I'm sorry, Kenny, what you got?
I think. Well, I kind of agree with Freddie, but I think the other part to it is that
you want to agree with me.
I'm not all the way because I don't think
that's three topics in a row.
Yeah, I just can't do it. It totally hinges on. I think it hinges more so because I think they have a window of opportunity here that this may not be his last chance to get to the Super Bowl. So I think if they lose, he still may have another opportunity to get back and win it. So I don't know if that will totally disqualify him from being a Hall of Famer. So that's my only reason why I would say that this doesn't hinge, his Hall of Fame status doesn't hinge on this particular game. Because I think they have like a 2 or 3 year window as to where they can make a run in terms of being a Super Bowl contender. So that's the reason why I'm saying no.
Okay. 2 or 3 year window. That's more aggressive than I think. I think it's 2 years max. I probably would agree with you as well because he's up. He's not he's not a spring chicken either. So yeah, I could go with 2 years. I think Bob Woods next year will give them but they got to pay him. So it's going to be real interesting to see with this team.
Yeah, and that whole offseason is going to really tell a story. Win or loss. As to whether or not this is going to be a one and done, or is they'll be able to make a run over the next couple of years.
I got news. I'm gonna speak for all us LA Rams and the fans. We going for not one, not
Don't
two.
do that.
Oh, please! What is wrong with this guy?
You just became a fan last week, and now you going LeBron?
Oh, and we saw how LeBron ended. Man,
Bruh.
This Freddie been. Oh man, Freddie, we love you, man. DJ, what you got?
Gaslight man.
Is this the defining moment for Matt Stafford, or he's good either way?
You're
Can't
muted.
hear you,
You're
sir.
muted.
Can't hear you, sir.
Can't hear you.
My bad. I'm not gonna just say he's good either way, but I am gonna say how he plays will define his moment, win or lose. How he plays in this game will define it will define him being cemented into the Hall of Fame or not. Because don't get me wrong, like he can have the greatest game, but the defense can be off. It may not be his choke. It may be the defenses. But then he can have everything lined up for him, and he just, chokes. He could just be having because of the stage that he's on, like the possibilities are endless of how this game can go. And it, regardless of how the game itself goes, how he plays is the determining factor for that.
Okay. No, I think that is a big part of it, is how well he plays in this stage. I think he'll throw for 250 plus, probably 2 touchdowns. Now he flew on and throw another pick 6. We're gonna have a conversation because that boy liked to throw them pick 6s. But no, I definitely agree. And if he gets quote unquote outdueled by quote unquote a rookie, because this is Burrow's really first year, I think that also that's not a good narrative. Granted, this Cincinnati offense is full of firepower, so it wouldn't be terrible, but there's definitely some pressure there. I do think they'll all come out a little tight, hopefully not too tight. They'll get the nerves out the system. But I think we're in for a definitely a good game. And so I do want to ask about the other quarterback on the other side. So you know how we always do. As fans, as analysts, as talking people, we always want to find out who's the next this. And so everybody knows, as of now, Tom Brady has retired. He's hung him up. He's walked away. Hopefully we don't got to hear from him until he gets a job. I don't want to do this back and forth. I'm a huge Tom fan, but you don't need to do the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers thing. Like, if you retire, retire. Let this be for somebody else. But with that, who's the next one is definitely the question. And so a lot of people, because of the intangibles, because of not the greatest mobility, people are talking as if Joe Burrow could be that guy. And congratulations to him also on winning Comeback Player of the Year. He won that this evening, which I think was a layup as well. Most of the awards that we've seen won, I feel like, were pretty straightforward. I think the MVP is going to be a mistake, but
I bet you do.
They're going to give it to the wrong guy, and that's fine. That's what they do. Aaron Rodgers somehow.
They might not. You know what? They might say, you know what? We're going to miss Brady. We're going to be sad. Let's get him a
Brady pardon gift.
Yeah.
You mean do the right thing? Is that what y'all saying? They're going to do the right thing and give it to the person that deserved it. But is Joe Burrow the next Tom Brady? And we'll start with you, Kenny.
I think everything is almost aligned and set up for that conversation to be had, because I was thinking about this when I saw this topic. Like, this Super Bowl is almost like that Rams and New England when he won the first one, where everybody was picking the Rams to win the game. Nobody really thought the Patriots had a chance. And so if he comes in and, pulls this off and has a big game and, winds up winning the MVP, like, I think it'll start the talk. Like, he has the swag for it. He definitely has the confidence for it. He has the moxie for it. He has the ability to be it, but I think it would all depend on if he's able to pull off this upset. If he's able to pull off this upset, then it's going to start that conversation. While it may be too soon, but with everything that happened, it'll parallel it so closely to what Brady did. I think it will start the conversation.
Yeah, and I think the thing with that, when you look at where Cincinnati is and where the Los Angeles is, I think you have a potential duo of Burrow and Chase
For
that
sure.
could allow them to go on the run for a little bit.
Yeah.
They got a relatively young core. Mixon's still rather young.
Right.
Uzama's relatively young.
Higgins is young, I believe.
Higgins, that's what I was thinking. Higgins is relatively young. Boyd's kind of old, but he ain't real old. So I think they could go on one of those kind of runs. Patrick Mahomes, I think people are going to have a lot more questions about. I don't know if that invincibility factor is there anymore. Buffalo will have something to say about it. The Chargers may, but I think they still got some hurdles to get through. So potentially Baltimore is another team that might try and retool. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback. So in theory, since he could be here the next 3 out of 6 years or something like that, and if he wins, he goes 3-1 or something like that, I definitely think that's set up to happen, and we might see that. DJ, what you think?
I'm gonna say this, and since we are talking about the other side of the coin, this game is a defining factor of if Joe Burrow is the next Tom Brady, because like you said, like Kenny was saying, the everything's lining up. The season is lining up with that same first year LA Rams Patriots season that pretty much define Tom Brady's career. And this game is a make or break for if that legacy is going to be seen through Joe Burrow.
I would also say they both got clutch kickers, which could play a role.
About that.
And Vinny Tier was a lot younger at that point, so
T. Higgins only in his second year, so they got a nice young core.
Yeah, Freddie, what about you?
So I got to ask the question: are we talking about accomplishments? Or are we talking about skills?
I would say more so potential accomplishments.
Then no. I believe Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I still believe that this team is not. I don't think this team is done here, bro. I really, really don't. I think they're going to load up again. I believe that they know what they need to do. I mean, I'm seeing rumors that they're going after Calvin Ridley. I mean, I'm seeing those type of rumors. Like if they get a guy like that, then hey, that's just another weapon to Patrick Mahomes' arsenal. Hey, I'm not.
You think Kansas City this year is not enough offense?
Yeah, I don't think that's the
this
issue.
I think this year that offense was it was too up and down.
Because of his play, not their play.
Yeah, but I believe if you give him, we seen him when they had the other receiver that's in Baltimore.
Sammy Watkins.
Yes, when they had a Sammy Watkins and you had a Tyreek Hill with Kelsey, that offense was more elusive. That offense was more flowing better. Now I believe they're missing that consistent third guy. So you bring in that consistent guy, other wide receiver to spread out the field where you can't double team a Kelsey, you can't hold a.
So you don't think Hardman is that guy? You think they need to upgrade?
I believe if you get Ridley, Calvin Ridley down there,
I understand.
somebody like that, a major upgrade. Hey, you can see that offense open up a lot more. Now on the Bengals side, I believe in Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is that dude. You got the receiver, him and Chase is a great duo. Probably his top 3 duo already in the NFL already. But I'm not sure if the Bengals is going to do what it takes to protect Joe Burrow. Let's not sit here and act like this offensive line is still not jacked up. They need to correct those issues. So I know one thing
that'll be priority number one going in this.
That should be number one priority. But I know one thing with the Chiefs, they are doing whatever it takes to protect Mahomes. What did they say? What did we say last year? Oh, that line, it was messed up. And what did they do? They came in there, revamped the line. So I know that they will continue to make changes around Patrick Mahomes that he will be successful.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. To Anthony, I think you nailed it. I think the Chiefs need to. I think their adjustments need to be on the defensive side of the ball. I think they have enough weapons. The way they stand now, I don't think the offense is the issue. I think they defensively. I think consistency, like you said, Freddie, is the issue with the offense. I don't think it's the weapons per se. I just think it's consistency, and I just think they need to get some more. They need to upgrade that defense some more.
And I'm gonna tell you one thing that Patrick Mahomes is gonna have to learn this year, and this Aaron Rodgers had the same problem. Instead, when Patrick Mahomes touched the field, he's looking for the home run hitter. Yeah. He's looking to chunk it deep down field. But you know what made Tom Brady great? He looks for these short passes. He try to get the short pass game first. He dink and dunk. He don't, instead of just going downfield. But one thing, two things that it does. It wears out a defense. Two, it manages the clock. It manages the clock real well. I mean, so that's one thing that he's going to have to work on this offseason. Him, Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, and all that great stuff. And by the way, it's a shame that man is still an assistant coach in the NFL, by the way.
No, I agree. I think, but in kind of to that point, I also don't know that the Chiefs game plan well in adjusting to finding ways to get, like you said, we saw the second half of the AFC Championship game and Tyreek Hill didn't touch the ball. Like you that can't happen. So I definitely think there's some opportunity on both ends. Mahomes has to be better with the ball because I said it, I think when I first started on this show, he wasn't playing like an elite quarterback this year. And that crept up in the second half. Consistent. In the second half of the AFC Championship game, he looked awful. Like he looked scared. He didn't want to let it go. And I think part of that was I've been here a lot of times and I failed. And so you saying that the Chiefs are going to come back, if we have another, divisional or conference championship and Patrick Mahomes is in it and he's in another shootout, are you going to get the one where he played well against Josh Allen, or are you going to get the one he played against Cincinnati? So I think there's a lot of questions. That team will get older, and their core has stayed relatively healthy, which doesn't happen a lot. Kelsey's not usually knocked up or nicked too much. Tyreek Hill's usually on the field. They've had some issues at running back, but outside of that, they've played pretty healthy, and they haven't got it done. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Could you imagine this if the Chiefs go all in and they go after a Saquon Barkley?
Well, I don't think much of Saquon, but he gonna take a pay cut.
You got to stay healthy. Like to me, that's almost because that's the issue that's been with you're almost replacing one injury guy with another because Edwards-Helaire has had some issues staying healthy. So you're just exchanging.
I feel sorry for Saquon. He just played for a trash ass franchise.
I mean, your team. Your team that you abandoned.
Not my team. That used to be my team until they start doing bad business.
Did he get his 5th-year extension, or they didn't offer him the 5th-year extension?
Not yet.
I think I would be shocked if they didn't. Know, like you can't. You can't let him walk into free agency. You got at least offer him that 5th year because and also to be fair. We've only seen one healthy season from Saquon Barkley, and we saw when he was healthy that he had a big year. That year with him and OBJ, he had a big year. So you've seen him. You just and you got this is the last chance. This is one of the things where you got to dig your heels in the sand, and you got to this is it now or never. Like it's put up or shut up time. Like if you don't show and prove on this year, then we cannot continue this relationship. And I think it's got to be there's two guys you got to do that. You got to do that with him and with Daniel Jones. Like
but we got to see the New York Giants organization have not done right by Saquon as well by not addressing the problem that's in the room.
Offensive line.
They have not addressed the problems. I mean, they keep asking, like, wondering why the dude keep getting hurt. I mean, the dude literally when they hiked the ball, they were there to tackle him. I mean, the Giants have not done what they're supposed to do. And they're going to continue to be where they at until they start doing the business the right way.
I won't disagree with that. But speaking of business, The NBA had a lot of business that's been conducted.
I think I need to go. I gotta go to work, you guys.
No,
Oh,
sir.
whoa.
No, sir.
Whoa.
Don't try to run now.
That's
Don't
right.
try to
Don't
run
forget
now.
nowhere, my friend.
Because I will say this: some teams conducted business over the last couple days. Some teams decided not to conduct business. So we'll start with just a high level of what were y'all takeaways from this trade deadline week, and then we'll dig a little deeper into individual teams that may or may not have made any trades and how awful some of these teams might have looked. But I will start with you, DJ. What were your initial takeaways from this trade deadline period?
Man, I'm gonna say the biggest takeaway that you got to think about is what everybody was seeing coming, and a lot of people didn't want to see it coming, but the Harden Simmons, that trade, that's one of the biggest ones that really shook up the NBA when they really shook up the sports world when they announced it. I mean, they got the Nets got Ben Simmons, Seth Curry,
Drummond.
Yeah, him.
Drummond
and he got
2 draft picks.
Yeah, was it 2 or 3 years?
Two draft picks.
two draft picks, all for Harden, and it was another person. Who was it?
Millsap.
Millsap. Yeah, like that was a. I mean, I feel like the Nets really got the better end of the deal on that one. Like Philly didn't really get too much of nothing. We'll see how Harden gets when he gets there. Because like I said on the morning show the other day, I feel like he's just not happy anywhere he goes. But maybe he gets to this Philadelphia team and he actually finds home. Hopefully he finds home.
Yeah. Okay. For the Sixers' sake, they better hope he finds a home, because you gave up a lot for a guy that can walk at the end of the season. So to me, that's the biggest takeaway for me is on the Sixers side.
Harden, he opted in for next year. He did opt in his player option.
Oh, he did. Okay.
$47 million, but he opted in.
Okay. Well, then that makes a little more sense. Because if he didn't do that, then the chance of him walking and you give away all of that and he walks, and even doing that, still, like, you still only got 2 years with this guy. Not even 2 years. You got a year and a half with this guy to basically win a championship. So this better work. Like, to me, that.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Is it?
Yeah,
I thought it might have been me.
For all.
All right, so it might be Kenny.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, sorry. So I was saying all of the bluster that came from the Sixers side in terms of what they wanted for Ben Simmons, like they wanted this big ransom or they wanted this big, treasure. In terms of what they got back, they didn't get anywhere near what they were asking for, the asking price. So to me, that's the biggest takeaway to me, is that they basically, what I said, got 50 cents on the dollar. If you look at that trade, like you gave away 2 starters, a very productive bench player in Drummond, who was playing 20 to 25 minutes a night, and 2 first-round draft picks. For a guy that you have basically for a year and a half, and for a over-the-hill Paul Millsap. Like, that's nowhere near the price that you were talking about that you had to get in order to trade Ben Simmons. So that, to me, I think is the biggest takeaway. And I really honestly think that you got to look at Daryl Morey now. And if this doesn't get done, and if they don't win the championships in the next 2 years, then he needs to go, because he was the one. He's the one that's shepherding this thing. He's the one that, has taken the reins over from Elton Brand. And so if this is your deal, Like, this is your legacy in terms of the Philadelphia Sixers. So if this doesn't work out, this is two franchises that you tied your fortunes to James Harden. So if he doesn't get it done, then he got to go. So that, to me, that's the biggest takeaway, that the Sixers went all in on James Harden. And, you know, to my guy's point, that, like you said, that's a great point. He just seems like everywhere he goes, he's not happy. So now you're hitching your wagon to a guy that you don't know if he's going to, you know, if he's the leader that you're going to be able to put with Joel Embiid, and they're going to be able to be the, you know, the tag team that's going to lead that franchise to a championship, because that's what you're hitching your wagon to. So I just think, to me, like, that's the biggest takeaway for me, is that the Sixers went all in to a guy that we're not sure whether or not he's the guy that you should be hitching your wagon to that's going to lead you to a championship.
And real quick, Damon says Sixers are better trading for Miles Turner. I don't see that being a good
that don't make no sense to me.
Not with Joel Embiid. And
exactly.
I guess you would have had to give up Drummond for spacing, but I don't necessarily like that fit. But Freddie, what was your takeaway from this trade deadline time frame? Please educate us.
I'm gonna stick with the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, are you?
I want to talk about it. I mean, hey, because I have.
Go right ahead, sir. Don't worry. We're gonna get to you, Lakers. Don't worry.
I think my work about to call me. Listen, you guys. I have Philadelphia. I'll put it in the phrases. I don't know who won the trade, because if they win a championship this year, I'm gonna say Philadelphia won. But the pressure is on Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey, because Doc, if you can't win with this roster, with this team, it's time to start questioning you, man. It really, really is. Because outside of that championship in Boston, what has Doc Rivers really done? I mean, let's start asking that question. You've lost some 3-1 leads to some big games. But when it gets to the big moments, your team always seems like it be the one coming up short. Hey, Joel Embiid, you're having a hell of a season this year. You're the MVP running. You know, I'm not comparing him to this player, but we always say a big man needs Kobe. Well, Joel Embiid, you have your sidekick now. You wanted the guy gone in Ben Simmons. You got your guy now. You still have Thibault, which I think he's going to be very valuable in this as well, because you need that wing, the defensive wing player. You still have Maxey. You know, you can be your backup point or wherever you want to put him. You have Tobias Harris that you still able to keep. So, hey, you still have the squad that you want, you know, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be active in the buyout market as well. So, I mean, hey, but, man, I'm going to be interested to see what's going on in Brooklyn. I'm keeping my eye out. In Brooklyn because, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I came on here, I think it was Monday, and I said, if I'm Brooklyn, I would wait till the end of the season, see this big three healthy, make so you can see if you can win a championship with it. But there had to be some pressure that's going on down there in Brooklyn that we don't know about. There got to be something going on in that locker room that's not coming out. I mean,
no, I think you got your answer. That you know, Katie and Kyrie are locked at the hip, and clearly that wasn't going to change. And you know, James Harden, I guess, felt like the third wheel. To me, the answer is that James Harden felt like the third wheel, and he was always going to be the third wheel, and he didn't want to be that guy. So that's why.
Can we say Kevin Durant is a weird dude? Did y'all watch the draft today?
It was, yeah. So, and just Freddie, to your point, so obviously James Harden was an all-star, so they do the draft, and they asked Kevin Durant a question about his health, and he looked. It was just weird. You guys should watch the video. Like, he just looks weird. Like, he was. I don't want to put nothing on nobody, but he just didn't look right. But then it got to the last pick, and it was between James Harden and Rudy Gobert. I think was the last options, and it was Durant's pick. And he started talking about how he needed a big man and somebody that played defense and this, that, and other.
Oh,
and he picked Rudy Gobert over James Harden for his All-Star team.
Then old Bron, he was like this.
Yeah, as soon as Kevin Durant started talking, Bron put up like a notebook in front of his face. Like, it was really
I just gotta
awkward.
watch that.
Hey, and by the way, LeBron was being petty as well. Like you can definitely see he was in him in Charles Barkley. Him in Charles Barkley.
Not surprising.
Yeah. So it was good entertainment, but to that point, I think there was a lot of things. I think the Serge Ibaka trade is really going unnoticed. Milwaukee hadn't had Brook Lopez. Like, that's huge for them because they've been looking really, really good. We can ask Freddie about how good Milwaukee's looked.
I like what you did there, sir.
But it was a lot of movement. Washington, I guess we blew it up in so many ways.
I don't understand that. Let me ask you,
like, unicorn you trust?
What? Yeah, what are y'all doing?
I don't know. I guess we're building around Kyle Kuzma because we got rid of the point guard. The shooting guard's hurt. We got rid of Bertans, who's a shooter, which that was a bad deal. So I'm glad we got rid of that deal, that contract. And I forget, we brought in like one other person, but I don't know.
Rid of Montrez.
Yeah, Montrez here, which I'm happy for him, but I think he's gonna have a hard time in Charlotte because they got a bunch of explosive bigs and young talent. So he'll kind of fit, but I don't know if he's super excited because his role probably won't be much more than it was with us.
Oh no, I think he'll be part of that second unit and eat into Plumlee's minutes.
Yeah, he looked bad the other night, and that might have been why they made that deal. Because like he was under the basket doing Ben Simmons like things, like passing up layups and dunks. Like I didn't know. I don't know what was going through his head. So that's a good point. He might, but he's small. Like he's active, but he's small. Plumlee's at least a big body.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what Washington's doing, but I think we're all on the same page. The big takeaway is Brooklyn was way more chaotic than I think we knew. Like there was a bunch of differing reports about what was going to happen, but based on what I'm seeing now, there was no way they couldn't trade Ben Simmons. And I'm sorry, trade James Harden. And given that information, Philly gave up way too much.
Too much.
I don't know. Like I've said Daryl Morey was an idiot from the beginning for how he handled all this. But that's a disaster for what they gave up and what they got back when there were much better offers that have presented themselves, some of which we may never know. But
do you feel that way if they win the championship this year?
I mean, that's the only way that you can say that.
If that happens, then it was worth it 100%. You can't argue with it. But man, they better win.
The reason why I ask, that's the same thing people say, oh, Lakers, you could have waited, until, the next year, blah, blah. I say, well, we won the championship, as long as you won the championship, it's worth it in my eyes.
Yeah, but are we calling Joel Embiid LeBron? Like, I think that if it works out, and then again, we can't argue with it, but what happens if they go out in the second round? Like,
no, that's a big embarrassment there.
Or if they lose to Brooklyn, because there's a great chance that they might end up seeing Brooklyn in the first or second round potentially.
Oh, I'm so ready for that matchup. I'm ready for it.
So I think there's a lot in to Freddie. I think it was your point, and I don't know if I've said this on here, but I've been very critical of Doc Rivers. Like, I think he gets a lot more praise than I think he's earned, and I don't think he gets enough criticism.
Ask yourself deep down, what has Doc Rivers done outside of that championship in Boston?
Well, he's come up with a lot. But I understand that he has come up short in some playoff series.
Not some, a lot. Not some.
With superior talent.
Yeah.
Well,
Them Clippers years was
the only
rough.
one I will say, the only one. Then I was just gonna say about those Clippers teams. The only one I would say that they should have won was the one against the Rockets. I don't think that they were better than the Golden State in any of those series.
When they had PG and Kawhi.
Yeah, I don't think they were better. Oh no, that wasn't Golden State. I'm talking about.
No, he lost a 3-1 lead. Didn't he lose when the Clippers with them?
Oh,
Yeah,
against
Luka.
Denver. Okay, yeah, I'll give you that one. But I guess I'm saying the reason I'm saying that he's been more successful than he has come up short. Now, I understand he's come up short in some big spots, so I get that. But he's been a perennial playoff coach, and he's won a championship. So, while there's criticism, there's only one team that can win a championship every year.
Which is it's just true, but he didn't get there a bunch of years. I think most people thought he should have got there, and then a couple of the years he got there, it wasn't what I think we're expecting. So I think there's a lot on them, and I don't know what James Harden we're getting. Like, he's been very iffy this year. If we were getting 2 years ago James Harden when he got traded from Houston and he was putting up 30, 40-point triple-doubles, all right, you make that trade for that James Harden. This James Harden don't look like that James Harden. He looks Russell Westbrookian in his lack of athleticism and ability to finish at the rim. And so I think that to me is a concern. And even the way he's been shooting pretty poorly. So the lane isn't going to be open with Joel Embiid down there. The offense, I guess, is going to run through Embiid. So the pick and roll is definitely something to appreciate. But you also lost Seth Curry, who's your shooter. Mm-hmm. So as far as spreading the wing, like, Tyronn Maxey's not the best.
Yeah, he's more of a slasher. He's not really a spot up guy. He's more of a slasher.
So I just think that there's opportunity there as well. So I think there's a ton of pressure on Philly, and they've done this. And I really think it's on Daryl Morey, because I think they could have done a lot of other things. And given, especially, like I said, what we've heard about Brooklyn, and it sounds like that was a mess. Like, they should have got more out of that, because I don't think there was a way that James Harden could have stayed on that team with what we're hearing. But that's just my kind of 2 cents on it. With that being said, the time has come. The time has come. Some teams that are contenders didn't make any moves. So, Freddie Henderson, I'm going to start with you. Why didn't the LA Lakers do anything?
Wait, hold on. Before you answer that, Freddie, are the Lakers still contenders?
Hold on, I'm praying to the basketball guys real quick.
It's too late. They already denied your request. It's over.
Chamberlain,
They already denied your request, man.
To
might as well come on off the throne.
To whoever that's going to answer my prayer in basketball heaven, please wake me up from this nightmare. Amen. Is the Lakers back relevant again?
Nah, I'm sorry.
Are they contenders, Freddie? Are they contenders in the West? Yes or no?
Don't worry about it. I'll answer for you. As long as Westbrook's still on the court,
it's over.
But we can't even say that.
Yeah, can we stop with that? Can we stop with it?
We're not going to just stop. But
no, I'm saying can we stop with saying that it's just Westbrook that's the problem with the Lakers? Can we stop with that?
No, we're not going to stop that. Y'all said this is my turn. Let me go. Man, I hurt so much, y'all. Because I had so much hope for this team, but it's crumbling in front of my very own eyes. I mean, it's so bad. I watched them against Portland the other night, and they came out looking defeated. They came out in the game looking defeated. They came in the game, the whole morale was over. They was done. They was done with this mediocrity this season they dealt with. And we can't let LeBron off the hook. We cannot. because he is the reason why Russ is in LA. He is. If he don't say yes, he ain't there. He's not there. It'd be Buddy Hield or it'd be DeMar DeRozan. One of the two. And today I woke up this morning and I said, you know what? It's not over. It's not over. All we need to do is reshape the roster. We trade we trade this, make some kind of trade. Do something. Do something. Even if it wasn't just trading Russ, even if it's just getting a guy, somebody that can have some kind of role player, some kind of big, do something. They just stay still. Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, LeBron James. Don't y'all see y'all got a problem? Oh man, it's like it's an infection running through this franchise and it's spreading quick. It's what? And no pun intended, it's spreading faster than COVID. I'm sorry to say that. It is bad right now. It is bad. It is raining. It is pouring in Southern California, and it's hurt. It's hurtful. And it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard watching the games. I sit back and I just watch. And it just seems like it's just blowing up in front of my eyes. And like I said, you can't let LeBron off the hook because he's the reason why this roster the way it is. And and you can't. It's hard to get rid of bad habits. It's hard when you continue to do things and you continue to do this and you continue to do that. It's hard to get those habits out. And it's bad right now. And I don't know. I'm on the verge, and I'm Kenny. You're gonna laugh at this. I'm on the verge of saying, you know what, Lakers? What's the point of playing LeBron? What's the point of playing Anthony Davis? Rest them two. Don't you know what? Go through.
Hey, drop them two. That's a team.
No, I'm just saying. Hey, rest them. What's the point of going out there and risking an injury? That we don't have no chance to win this year. Tank for a draft pick.
You don't have one.
Tracing career.
Well, he ain't getting one this year.
Did you trade the draft pick away? You don't even have one.
Only ring they have is go to the little bubble gum machine that he ain't getting no ring. It's done. This season over. And I expect to see worse. I'm not gonna lie to you. I expect to see worse. And I've had so much hope, even when I said, okay, the big three healthy, we about to go on a run. Well, two of them showed up, but the third one haven't.
I told you.
Well, I'm sorry, our fourth option.
Malik Monk, big three.
He is our third guy.
I tried to tell you 7 big ones last night, just like I called it.
Well,
they gotta get.
Well, the morale is done. Hey, Russ has broken this team. He has broken this team. This team is broken. I'm literally seeing their face come out like this yesterday.
Okay, so let me ask one question. If Russ broke the morale of the team and he didn't play last night, why did we not see a different Lakers team? Why do we see the same Lakers team?
It's because they already felt this team, the season's over. Too many players.
It's 30 games left in the season.
Yeah, but Kenny, when you start with bad habits and you can't get those bad habits out, you don't wake up one day being this way. No, you wake up another way. And then you got to realize.
Listen, my question.
You got to realize.
You're misunderstanding my question. If you're saying that Russ is the one that broke the morale, and the guy that you said is the reason for the morale being broken isn't playing, why did it continue last night?
Like I said, I want to put the reference to 2-3 years ago. Remember we had the young crew with LeBron? Yeah, remember that game going against Indiana where the fans were like, LeBron's going to trade you. LeBron's going to trade. Y'all remember that?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So got it. So everybody was scared they were going to get traded, so that's why they played bad. That's what we're going with.
Listen. So you get beat in Milwaukee by Milwaukee. Okay, you already felt that dynamic coming out, and then you come in this game, you already came in the game being defeated. They already come in the game being defeated.
So you're telling me that a LeBron James, a multi-time, 4-time,
the greatest player of all time,
in the words of Shannon Sharp, go James. You're telling me that AD, a perennial all-star, going against a Portland Blazers team that have lost 5 straight games at home, had traded away half their roster, had to call up G League guys to fill out the roster. You're telling me that their morale was down to play against this team? Get out of here.
Their morale was they didn't care.
Stop making excuses.
Russ broke the team. He's broken. He shouted. He's done. And I don't know how Russ can bounce back from this. I don't. I really don't. And I feel sorry for him because I like Russ.
I'm gonna ask this one last question, and I'm gonna leave it alone. Is Russ the only problem with your team?
No. Of course I know that. I know that.
I want to be clear.
But what I'm saying is, he's one of the top problems. I'm not saying
he's fair.
No, he's still the biggest problem.
That's fair. But you got a lot of other problems besides him.
No, I agree. I'll tell you another one. I hate the fact that Frank Vogel don't play our bigs. I mean, I hate this fact that you start with AD.
You only got one.
They don't play our bigs. They only play AD. Dwight Howard's not getting played. DeAndre Jordan don't get played. And
Did you watch them play?
Yes.
And Dwight Howard can't stay on the court because he get 4 fouls in 3 minutes.
But Ray, what I'm saying is when AD go down, it's a layup drill. Just layup.
It's a layup drill.
It's a layup drill with him.
Yeah, if you don't block it, it's a layup.
Going with AD out there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think Frank Vogel's put and I'm not calling for the man's job because I know you can't just put this all on one.
Nah, he gotta go.
Well, you can't.
Well, what's going to improve? But if you get rid of Vogel,
it don't change nothing. We see
the coach is not going to change these guys' effort on defense. Like
you
I don't know who's going to get these guys to play. You're not these. This just a flawed roster. They can't
play defense.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I think earlier in the year,
you could bring. I don't even think. Shoot, you could bring Phil Jackson back to coach this team. I don't think he could get these guys to play defense. It's just a flawed roster from top to bottom.
Well, I'm not gonna say top from bottom because they do have some pieces. I'm not gonna say they have all pieces, but if they would have, you know what? I'm ready for the offseason because I believe we're gonna make. You know what? The reason why we didn't make a move. Well,
so this season is over. You're not even making the playoffs. That's what you're saying.
Friday night, he was telling me it's coming, and now in less than a week, the season's over.
Didn't he say? Wait, hold up, Ray. Didn't he say? Hold on, y'all. The run is coming.
Oh,
the run is back.
Look out. Remember, he kept asking
80, the all-star. 80 about to take it out in the league for not making the all-star team.
The run is over.
The season is over.
The wheels are off. The wagon is done. But I'm gonna say this offseason, you have Russ you can trade. You have THT you can trade.
You could have traded him today.
No, but the reason why they didn't trade him is because this offseason they have 2 draft picks. They could trade 2. They can trade the 2027. No, they can trade the 2027 first round, and they got the 2029 first round pick they can trade. And they feel
why they traded for John Wall
because they can't trade the 2029 right now. They feel like that they can come trade this offseason for somebody more valuable than John Wall.
And who? Who are you going to get to match that $40-something million salary for Russ Westbrook next year? You're going to be able to couple with that.
Maybe a Damian Lillard, maybe a Bradley Beal. I don't know.
And if the Portland Trailblazers make that deal, they will be immediately. That the commissioner it'll be the same. It'll be the CP3 thing all over again. The commissioner will void that deal.
I know because you don't want to see that because that happens.
No, because if they make that deal, then that's collusion at the highest levels. There's no way that you trade for Russell Westbrook.
But we didn't think we'll see a trade with Ben Simmons, Andre Drummond, Seth Curry today neither. But we in 2 first-round drafts. We saw that, didn't we?
Well, yeah, you got a point there, but this is totally different to me. Like, you got a guy in his prime. Like, this is different. Like, Ben Simmons is still 20-something. What is he, 24, 23, 24, something like that? This kid is still in the prime of his career. Like, he hasn't even hit his peak.
Kenny, we almost sent him to the Knicks. You almost had Russ.
Nope, there was no interest. That wasn't happening.
You Kenny, that I was come on here and say, Kenny,
bro.
What's your thoughts on
man?
I was hoping. Ooh.
Man, listen, y'all would have had to give me a minute to let me cook because I would have cooked on that one, boy.
Man, but you know what, y'all? I'm gonna want to pick back up on the Ben Simmons thing. What are your thoughts if he just turn around and start playing? I believe these owners is going to, when this next bargain agreement, they're going to raise so much hell that it's going to make these players so hard for these players to sit out on games or miss games just because they want to leave.
No, I'm with that whole, like, I think a big sticking point in this next CBA is going to be this load management thing. I think these owners are getting they're going to start really digging in on that. So I think that's definitely going to be an issue. But I don't think he's coming right back right away. I would say I think Simmons will be back maybe a week or so after the All-Star break, but I don't think he's coming back on the other side of the All-Star break. I would be shocked because if that happens, then that basically said that the whole thing was a lie. So they got to keep that lie going.
I think so too. That'd be a way of
you can't just come right back.
James Harden all of a sudden become healthy now. Watch.
Oh yeah, now he'll be playing. That hamstring will definitely loosen up.
Hey, and LeBron. Hey, this what LeBron was petty, so he gonna say, "Oh, I guess will James better play since he's hurt." And then Charles and then gonna say, "Oh no, he gonna play in the next couple of days." Oh man, this is all time Eddie here.
That's a great question.
I wonder how does that make y'all? How does that make so? You have LeBron. I wonder how's his relationship with James Harden is after that. He like, hey man, like bro, you throwing shots up there, like does he feel like okay? I know he is playing around or.
No, I think he understands and he know what he did. Like James Harden knows what was going on behind the scenes. He understands his responsibility in this. And the craziest stat is they played a total of 16 games together.
Crazy.
Like who thought?
Were they like 13-3?
Yeah. I think that is. Yeah.
They were 2-0 this year, I think, but
that's so. Looking back on this though, that's really sad though. The fact that we couldn't see the three of them guys play together, like that whole trade was basically a big letdown because everybody thought with those three guys together, as long as they were able to stay healthy, like there was no way that they wouldn't compete for a championship. And so to just not see it work out, it's to me, as a basketball fan, it's just sad to see.
And I agree. I think we all expected, obviously, a lot more. We saw what it could have been. But I think one of the takeaways I do have is the more we see people try and put these huge, huge threes together, the basketball guys just don't let it be. It doesn't let it work out. The Lakers tried to do it, and we've seen how that turned out. Like, it was one thing. Like, I think we all said Russ is not a fit. That was fair. But I don't think anybody thought it would be this bad.
No, nobody.
Like, people was so angry when the Nets teamed up. But I don't think anybody said they're going to play this little together and it's going to end this quickly, this bad. Like, whether it was COVID's fault, whether it was the New York State mandate's fault, whether it was bad strip clubs in New York's fault. Like, whatever reason, these big threes just don't seem to work. Now, if you get two with like a role player like Golden State has, maybe like Miami has, you can have a three. But even what Brooklyn did with Paul Pierce in them, when you get those kind of threes with big names, it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. To Damian's question,
I think we only had two though. We had Miami and Boston. I think those are the only two that we saw really work out.
Golden State.
But that was with KD. That's
but
true.
I mean, in terms of like putting it together, either via free agency or trade.
That was like, one guy that was brought in free agency, not a collective group of people talking and planning together and conspiring that when our contract
now Draymond did reach out to KD and he got him to come.
But he was that was just regular free agency. He didn't force his way out of OKC. It wasn't some collusion over the course of years. KD and Kyrie was talking at the All-Star game 2 years ago about when there'll be two max spots and when they would be available.
So what did Miami do to nobody forced their way out?
We know LeBron orchestrated a get together, and Melo was supposed to be there, but he turned it down. Like they all took less money.
They didn't go to state then.
They all took less money at the same time to go to the same place. That's not the same thing.
It is the same thing. I mean, it wasn't. I don't see how it's not the same thing.
What you mean?
Like two players instead of one.
They were drafted like Golden State. Those two guys were drafted. Like Steph and Clay were drafted. Draymond was drafted. The only guy that came in was KD, and he came in via free agency. Whereas with the Celtics, you traded for Ray Allen. You traded for KG. The only guy that was there was Paul Pierce. And with Miami, your only guy there was D Wade, and the other two came via free agency. And like Ray said, they all, put money to the side to be able to make it happen.
You try it, Freddie, but it's okay. Real quick, I do want to get
the point. That's it.
I do want to get the Damian's question because it is about Kristaps Porzingis. And when he was drafted, who would have thought he would have got traded twice, and the second time he'd be kind of a footnote.
We're gonna let you cook on that since he's your guy now, Ray. So like
I haven't been a Porzingis fan since New York traded him. I did like when they drafted him. He's not somebody that stays healthy. He's a big, skinny guy with leg issues. That's problematic. He's him and Kuzma are kind of the same guy. I think Kuzma's a better playmaker, but they're long, rangy wings that are inconsistent shooters that can't really get their own shots. And now we don't have a point guard to get either one of them the ball. So we brought back Ish Smith. I don't know if he's going to be the starting point guard. We let Satoransky go. Like, I don't know who's going to run the point for the team. I don't know what they're going to do. I think
we did get a triple-double then beat Brooklyn.
What about Cassius Winston, the young guy from Michigan State?
No, he's not. He shouldn't be in the NBA, to be perfectly honest, in my opinion. But maybe there was a buyout market. I feel like we did this because we wanted to get out of that Bertans deal. And they hated Dinwiddie in the locker room. More and more reports have been coming out about his leadership style.
But then you stuck with KP contract. He just signed something a few years ago. So you still – so I don't get that at all.
I think Bertans was big. I think it was like 4 years, $80 million or something. I don't know how big Porzingis was. But we also – I think Dinwiddie, we had just paid him too because he was a free agent from Brooklyn, and we had paid him. So I think we wanted to get out of the money, but the team didn't get any better, and I don't see the future. To Freddie's point, Kuzma had a great statistical game, but it was against the Nets with nobody. So
Ray, he still got 3 years and $100 million left on his contract.
Ray, do me a favor.
Yeah,
you got in the buyout market. I just need you to buy out KCP because he was caught with Pope. He want to come back to LA.
No, he don't.
Oh.
Listen, that's the part that I think people don't criticize to me LeBron enough for. He alienates a bunch of people. He constantly trades a lot of talent in hopes of getting a veteran. So I don't see a lot of people wanting to run back to LeBron because he's LeBron and he's hard to play with. And he's
They tried
never
to
the
trade the
problem.
Dennis Schroeder back today.
You said they're bringing him back?
serious?
I know they
They
traded
got
him,
traded to Houston.
and that is a cautionary tale. I feel bad for
Oh
him.
my God.
He ain't gonna play in Houston. They got a bunch of young
Man,
guards.
go to-
No, they're gonna buy him out.
I was just watching them play, so
Oh, okay, that makes sense because that
They
to
bought
me that
Andrew
doesn't make
Freeman
any
too,
sense
well.
to with KPJ and Jalen Green. Those they got that young backcourt. They don't make any sense
right.
for them.
And there was a couple guys
have
playing
them
I
there.
wasn't even aware of, and they're not gonna win, but they're exciting to
Mhm.
play.
Yeah,
And that's
they're
why
totally
John
good,
Wall's
yeah.
not playing. So you don't bring in a
Right.
veteran guard because you already have a
Right.
veteran guard.
Did Houston
paying a bunch to
do
sit.
Houston go ahead and cut John Wall?
Not yet.
I-
But to me, at this point now, they got to be talking buyout. So maybe Freddie, maybe you could get him in the buyout. But I think they
if
have
you-
to at this point because you can't trade. If you couldn't trade that contract for Westbrook, there's really not a whole lot of other options left.
You know what? Hey, we'll do it. Hey, buy Wall out. We'll buy Westbrook. Let's go.
But how much is that Wall buyout? Because he's making $40 million. That's a heck of a buyout. That ain't.
Isn't he a free
If I'm him, I'll stay on ice.
Yeah, you've been
my
sitting me all
contract is
year. I'm not
guaranteed.
doing y'all no favors.
Exactly.
Isn't he a
I'm
free agent this offseason though?
Who?
Yeah, his deal was 1 year shorter than Russ's, so I think he comes off at the end of
I
this
think
year.
it's next year though. Hold on, I'm gonna check.
Was it next year?
I'm
Ken, if you
gonna
can check for us.
I got
I'm
you.
not gonna lie. I would take Wall over Westbrook, and just for this reason, Wall know his career's in the decline. He know he's not that guy anymore. Russ,
That's not true. People keep saying that. John Wall, I watched him in the summer. I've followed
John
him on
Wall
social
still got
media.
his burst.
He does not. This
Yeah.
idea that he's just this wash player.
No, he's
People
not.
forget
no,
that
I'm
he
not
was
saying that he's. I'm
he
not
was
saying
a
that he's
perennial
washed.
all-star. He had a couple injuries. The same way Klay Thompson had back-to-back injuries.
Correct.
Wall didn't have a long history of injuries. He just had 2 big injuries back to back.
Correct.
And
I'm
now
not
he's been on
saying
the
that.
team that
What
won't
I'm
let him
saying
play.
is that he knows he's not the same guy that he was 5 or 6 years ago. He
You're not
knows.
5 or 6 years ago, yeah. But he could still be an
He
all-star. In this
he
league.
still got that burst.
What I'm saying
Like,
is Russ still thinks he's the same guy that he was in OKC.
Now Russ is
thinks,
gone.
I'm
Yeah,
saying
but-
Russ thinks that he needs to be the number one guy. And I'm gonna tell you this.
I don't know if he wants. I don't think he. I don't think that. I think what it is I'm gonna tell you what's wrong with Russ.
He deserves to
Is
finish
it-
the game. He believes.
Yeah, I think Russ is, and this has been his problem. I think this has been his challenge to his entire career, is that he doesn't know how to take a step back and sacrifice his game for the sake of the team. He thinks the only way that he can win is playing his way, and he has never adjusted his game for the sake of his teammates. And so I think that's what hurts Russ. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Before we end the show, I want to read a text that I got. Me and a person. I'm gonna keep this person name. I'm not gonna report his name.
Anonymous.
But yeah, it's gonna keep it anonymous.
Anonymous sources.
He don't have to bow down to LBJ, like I stated. If LBJ wanted to win, he would convert to how Russ played, period. And I said to a guy who haven't won anything, that is comical. That is very, very comical.
And John Wall has one more year. 2023, his contract ends.
Oh, and who's the MVP? Can somebody's name? Who's the MVP?
We knew who the MVP would be. I said that.
Who is
Aaron
it?
Rodgers.
Oh, okay.
Aaron one and done Rodgers is the MVP.
But is that number 4 or number 5 for him? Which one?
It's number 4.
More MVPs than Super Bowl rings.
Hey, but Rodgers, I ain't
He
rooting
almost
for
got
you
as
no
many
more.
MVPs as
I got
playoff wins.
Stafford. I ain't rooting for Rodgers no more. I got Stafford.
Next year you do.
But no, I think a lot of this situation is, I think Russ tried to fit in this year. I'm not one to give Russ a lot of credit because I'm not and have not been a Russell Westbrook fan for a really long time. I think he tried it their way, but there were times where he was still him. But the only person that got any criticism was always him. Anthony Davis was hurt. LeBron was hurt. He's been there game in, game out, giving it his all as best he can. And I think he saw
for the thanks he got what's the thanks he gets for that? Just
similar to James
left and right.
What did he do? What did he do?
I think James Harden, he just brought y'all back in the fourth quarter maybe a week and a half ago. And he played great down the stretch. I forget which game was, but he scored like 15 straight or something like that.
I think it was Charlotte.
But the point is, similar to James Harden, he like, I'm here day in, day out. Y'all in and out, this, that, and other. I'm trying to accommodate and fit in, but all I'm getting is criticism. I'm never getting praise. And I think he got frustrated. And then we've seen him not playing fourth quarters. We've seen him not playing overtimes or not playing a game, and they still losing. So if I'm Russ, a multiple-time MVP, the record holder for triple-doubles, like, y'all saying I'm the problem, but when I'm not there, y'all still got a bunch of problems. So you want
but at the end of the day, just mind this, Ray. Mind this. Mm-hmm. We want to make Russ seem like he's this good guy. This is a guy who's been traded in how many years in a consecutive?
You're right.
A guy that's won an MVP in this league.
But answer me this. If his contract wasn't his contract, would he still be getting traded?
I believe so, yes.
I think the fact that you're paying him $40 million is why people keep trying to get off of him. If he was making $20 million, I think Russ would have stayed maybe in Houston or maybe even in Washington if he was making half as much. But we couldn't pay him $40 million.
What is one good thing that Russ does for the Lakers right now? I'll wait.
He hustles.
Energy. Don't cheat it.
And that's
the can do that.
I'm gonna say that.
Kenny, real quick. To your person's point, if LeBron was to adapt his game to the way Russ plays, I think Russ would look better. But every time, as much as we get on him, and I get on him too, a lot of the times we're seeing a bunch of turnovers and missed layups because there's so much stuff in the paint when Russ gets to the paint. There's no wide open lanes for him to dunk because Bron's down there, or DeAndre Jordan early in the year was down there, or Dwight was down there, or AD was down there, or sometimes now Melo's usually on the perimeter, but the lane is not even open for when he gets someone off the dribble.
But
there's so many arms around the paint.
But Ray, they don't adjust to you. You adjust to them. You're joining a team that they won a championship. LeBron,
but you brought me in to be me. Same way.
No, we didn't bring you to be you. We brought you.
What did you bring me in for?
No, we brought you to be the guy, to be the third option, to not turn the ball over.
Then that's where you failed, because I've never been a third option. Not since I was in UCLA have I been a third option.
Can you at least play defense? I mean, is that bad?
I've never played defense. I don't play defense. And LeBron, don't you dare tell me to play defense, because I watch people blow by you every single game.
But guess what? Guess what? I'm putting up points a game. What are you doing, Russ? What are you doing?
You're not setting no example. So you say Russ? What is Russ doing?
Mr. Accountability.
What example?
Mr. Accountability. Where's the accountability, sir? Mr. Accountability, man. You love saying I hold people accountable.
Where's the
accountability?
You know what, Kenny? Let's talk about accountability.
Let's talk about it.
Guess what? Hold on.
Oh, come on now. You got to bring it to us. You're going to educate us.
Let's be real. You want to talk about accountability, but when Russ turned the ball over, guess what he say? When he say it's time, he can't come off the bench. He feel like he should be finishing game. Oh, what have I done in my career? This is who I am. I deserve this. But guess what?
But you keep on talking about Russ, though.
LeBron turned the ball over 6 times. You know what he said?
LeBron.
LeBron turned the ball over 6 times last night. You know what he said? I'll take accountability for that. It starts with me playing the point guard for our team, and then it tackles down to everybody else.
We're not talking
That's
about
what
LeBron.
we
We're
want
not
Russ
Who
to
talking
cares
about.
if you take
We talking about
accountability?
you.
We want Russ to say. Russ
We
want to
talking
blame
about
everybody
you. We
else.
talking about
but
you
him.
taking accountability for your team. Start blaming. Start passing the blame around. Start passing the buck around instead of just putting it all on Russ.
Freddie, how does what LeBron James said change the fact that they lost to that Portland team and
It
he
don't
turned the
change
ball
it,
over
but
that
guess
much?
what? He's not
So then
going
what are we
in the
talking
press
about?
conference and making things blaming everybody else instead of blaming yourself. Because Russ, in his mind, think this team should treat him what he did 4, 5, 6 years ago. And that's not
what they
the
do. That's what they doing with all the people they brought in. Everybody they brought in wasn't based on last year's performance. They ain't bringing Trevor Ariza because of what he did last year.
But Ray, if you playing bad, and you don't need to be playing in the game.
They're all playing bad. They're all playing bad.
If that's the case, you ain't got nobody on the floor.
Hold on. In the Milwaukee Bucks game, they was down 30 points. 30 points. They put his behind on the bench. We brought it back to 10.
That's because Milwaukee took their foot off the gas. And you saw what happened once Milwaukee locked back in.
Exactly.
What about when we played Brooklyn? We was down by 25. We went on a 30 was on lead and brought the game back down to 3.
And Russ was on the court.
What's your excuse for that?
So what happened last night when Russ wasn't on the court?
Right.
He had broken these guys' morale. He didn't broke.
Oh, you're telling Freddie Henderson. You are telling me that the greatest player of all time, the GOAT, LeBron James, a multiple MVP, a historic Mount Rushmore player, allowed Russell Westbrook to break his morale, and they didn't even get to the All-Star break.
Carrying that bum for all year long. 30 points here.
I don't ever want to hear you mention LeBron's name with Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan if Russell Westbrook is what undid him. You realize Michael Jordan was running around with Dennis Rodman, getting him right, allowing him to play, letting him leave in the playoffs and come back.
Kobe Bryant both had Conway Brown, but he never had a teammate as bad as Russell Westbrook.
Did you forget? Did you forget? What is the point guard's name? I can't. Smush Parker.
Smush Parker.
He ain't. He worse than him.
I gotta go.
Devin George. Sasa Vujacic. Are you kidding me?
Vladimir Radmanovic. You're saying he's worse than those guys?
Worse. If Kevin Durant can't,
Lord have mercy.
Nobody can. You know what? Hold on, Kenny. Hold on. I want to give a public apology to Kevin Durant. I'm sorry.
Lord have mercy. I can't believe
I'm sorry for criticizing you the way I did. I'm sorry for saying you leaving Oklahoma City was the weakest move. I'm sorry for calling you out. I'm sorry.
Everybody that's watching this or will watch the replay, the thoughts of Freddie Henderson are his and his alone and do not reflect the thoughts of anyone else on the ASAP network. They're his thoughts alone.
Oh, man.
Nobody can win with Russ.
Gotta put that disclaimer out there.
You know what? The Sacramento Kings need to trade for Russell Westbrook. And I'm gonna tell you why. If you're a team like that and you want to go to the playoffs, he can take you there. Like, I guarantee you, if he was on Sacramento, he'll take him in.
He's a bum. You just said he's a bum.
He will take another team to the playoffs. But you cannot put him on a team where there's expectations to win because he will fold the bag. What has Russell Westbrook ever won in his career? I'll wait.
Good night, y'all.
So, Freddie, real quick before we get out of here, is it safe to say that the Los Angeles Lakers are the worst team in California?
Oh, hell no, I ain't doing that. I am not doing that because 17-time championships is a line to that. The Clippers will never be on our level. Never. We could be
Damien, I get it. And I don't even drink, but I get it. I totally get it.
Man. Well, Freddie, we appreciate the comedy that you provided.
Exactly. That's
the only thing I do to Clippers is I get that fade. That's the only thing I get them Clippers, boy.
You better hope that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard
I'll
don't
try
come
to
back
tell you because
they
can
gonna
win a
run.
championship, right? They can win one, but guess what? They will never equal up to the Lakers. Never.
Okay,
you're
gonna be living on yesterday's memories.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday's memories when they put y'all in the basement once they get that new brand spanking new stadium, and y'all out here
you get that
the
brand
playoffs.
What supermodel they gonna put up in the Raptors banners this I wonder what they'll do now.
I just would like to point out LeBron has been in LA for this is third year, right?
Fourth, ain't it?
Is this fourth year? Third or fourth?
Third or fourth, one of them two.
It's fourth.
How many finals has he been to?
Yeah, first year, 2 years with AD. And this is third year with AD, right?
It's amazing what happened when LeBron left the Eastern Conference. That run of finals it seems like a distant memory.
And I'm gonna say this, and I gotta be honest. The Lakers haven't done a good job. When I say that, I'm talking about Rob Pelinka.
They've done everything LeBron asked.
Well, I'm about to say you definitely got to learn how to balance it. You always listen to your star player, but if you know that it's not a good fit, if you don't think it's a good fit, you make that gut decision and you live with it.
No, and but they thought it was a good fit though because they ran it by LeBron to make sure that he was okay with it. So
no.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. There's a bit of breaking news. Chris Paul just broke Drew Holiday's ankle. I don't know if y'all was watching, but he just made him go face first into the floor with a mean crossover. I wish we had the ability to play it live for you because man, it was something to see. And they ain't finished the play, but he dropped Drew Holiday. That was bad. I'm sorry.
If he didn't pinch it, I don't care. But like I was saying, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of pressure. Oh yeah, Kenny, what I was saying, Kenny, is that the Lakers didn't want Russ. They had a deal for Buddy Hield. Bron is the one that brought the deal to Russ. He's the one that said.
But that's what I'm saying. The fact of the matter that they ran that by LeBron and LeBron signed off on it. Now they made the final decision. But the fact that they brought it to LeBron meant that they had some interest too. Because if they thought the Buddy Hield deal was a better deal, then they wouldn't even bother to bring the Russ situation to LeBron.
Well, I think
so. They thought they had some interest in them too.
Well, I think it's more Bron brought it to the Lakers than
right. That's what I was thinking.
Bron.
Maybe so, but either way, you still had the final call as to.
Well, that's why I say I got to put blame on the Lakers as well, because you definitely got to learn how to balance it. And I'm pretty sure LeBron put some pressure on him, but you got to learn how to balance it too. And then by today's trade deadline, by not making no trades, I mean, I'm not going to kill him for that though.
Yeah, I'm not going to kill him for that because what did you have to offer? You had no trade pieces.
You had THT,
that's it,
and a draft pick.
That's it,
right?
And the draft picks is years from now. This is not.
We disagree on that. You had an opportunity, and we just talked about it. They failed. If from what's reported, Houston offered John Wall. I think that makes them a contender. If they can get John Wall.
And Houston offered him a first-round draft pick.
No, they wanted
LA's draft pick. They were going to trade John Wall.
And then you must have read that wrong. I mean,
they wanted LA's draft picks.
But if you move and you get that swap. So now you have John Wall. Now you have THT, maybe Melo or another couple ancillary pieces. You can go get a solid role player instead of these used up people. You can dump some salary. You can either get maybe a draft pick or something back. They could have positioned themselves this year. The West has 3 teams in it, and it's highly winnable if you have a healthy LeBron and AD with another supreme point guard and a solid role player. Melo and Monk have played well. Monk's been inconsistent, but Reeves, Monk, Melo, that's a solid little bench squad you got. So you even if you go get maybe Harrell again or some of these other people that got moved, you package something together and get them with John Wall, that makes them dangerous. And they didn't do that. for whatever reason.
I would have even traded Kendrick Nunn. I thought we should have. We haven't seen this dude all year. Now I'm about March. I mean, get something for the dude.
If I'm him, I'm not in a rush to come back anyway. For what?
Neither. I ain't going nowhere. What I'm rushing to come back for?
Like, I'm already paid. I'm on the team. My value is still high because I keep getting mentioned in trades. Why I'm gonna mess that up? Coming back early. No, I'm gonna rest and take my time. We ain't going
I just need
nowhere.
the New York Knicks to cut the buyout Cam Reddish because Tibbs don't like him. So go
But
ahead and
Cam
buy
Reddish
him out.
was somebody you probably could have came and got. There were people available.
Alec Burks was available. You could have got him.
I wanted Eric Fournier and Reddish.
You trade Avery Bradley. You had pieces.
Oh, I gave you Fournier.
You don't like Fournier?
No, you don't play him D.
I mean, no one in LA does either, so he would have fit perfectly.
I know, right? So that's why I said
I could. You know what, Kenny? We could have did a head up swap. Randall for Russ. I would have did that.
Oh, you nuts!
Well,
You'd have loved that.
Julius doesn't fit in LA. What are you talking about?
I think you nuts.
He's a
Why would the Knicks do that? Trade a 26, 27-year-old guy for a 32-year-old Russ.
It's a dysfunctional franchise in New York.
We're trying to get on the right path. Why would we do that? Build the team up. That don't make no sense.
Fair enough. Well, it was an exciting episode. We got a great game coming up on Sunday. Look forward to the halftime. We will definitely have our reactions and recap on Monday's episode. So tune in, be here on time, 9:00 Eastern on Monday for Real Talk. We're going to get into all that the Super Bowl has to offer. We're going to get some more time to talk about this robbery of an MVP to Aaron Rodgers, which is an absolute joke and travesty.
Oh, stop it, Ray. Stop it.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. They robbed Tom Brady. They could have changed it. He needed to go out with the MVP.
Goodbye,
that
Brady.
He earned.
You had a great career.
Shameful.
One little MVP. Oh, please. Boo-hoo.
It's shameful.
How does Tom Brady be the
boo-hoo, man. Get out of here. You got seven rings. Boo-hoo.
Shameful. You heard it here first. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great night.
Bayless.
And see, here you go. Taking shots, but it's all right. Skip getting them dollars. I want them dollars too. Y'all be easy. Have a great one. Enjoy. Be safe. And we'll see y'all on Monday.
Hey, Lakers beating Golden State on Monday. Let's go.
Nope.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making